Greetings everyone, welcome to my review of Archie Sonic issue 82 and part 4 of the Sonic Adventure Adaptation. To recap what happened last time, our heroes met the citizens of Station Square, who've taken a liking to them after a brief misunderstanding. Amy goes off on her own to shop, which ultimately leads to her encountering a bird being chased by a pair of robots and getting captured. Chaos could not achieve perfect form yet due to not having enough emerald energy thanks to Eggman's incompetence. He should have taken the entire Master Emerald, and no, I will not let that go. Also, he sent the E-Series robots to hunt down a certain frog. Knuckles checks out some ruins and gathers emeralds, and the Chaotix are prisoners of the cat people. Everyone good? Alright, let's begin. Sonic is hopping from building to building during the night, or rather the artificial night this place produces. I guess after serenading the ladies after who knows how long, he's still looking for that thrill. He interrupts himself referencing XPs of comic book heroes when he spots police cars responding to an emergency. Good thing he decides to follow because the police are about to have an odd encounter.
You are completely surrounded! Surrender yourself! Lock on target, men! Ready? Fire! Our weapons are useless! Retreat! All personnel, fall back!
Somehow, Chaos has grown powerful enough to assume a humanoid shape, but can he withstand one blue hedgehog?
Oh yeah! This could be fun!
Sonic spin dashes into it, forcing Chaos to change tactics by hopping onto a flagpole and stretching its arms at Sonic. Thanks to his speed, Sonic forces Chaos off, and the defeated puddle slinks away into the sewer.
Come on, you big drip! Where you going?
As Sonic and the cops secure the area, they're being watched by Dr. Eggman.
You know nothing, fool! It's Chaos, the god of destruction!
On to the second story. Knuckles is still at the ruins when a mysterious ball of light rushes towards him. Said light, Tikal, begins telling a story related to these ruins. Long ago, a ship full of echidnas left their homeland and settled in the mysterious cat country. Unfortunately, the locals were not kind to outsiders, so they launched a series of attacks. The echidna expedition split off. The scientist group left for a new land, while the warrior caste, or the Knuckles clan, decided to stay and fight. Some time has passed, and Tikal and her father, Pachacamac, discovered an area with 7 Chaos Emeralds and a group of beings known as the Chow. Yeah, this is the first time they appeared in this comic, and boy, look at their designs. Wow. Tikal would frequent this area because it's far away from the battles. She would get to know the Chow, as well as another, more watery being known as Chaos. The Knuckles clan soon got desperate enough to invade the area in order to use the 7 emeralds against their enemies. Despite Tikal's protests, they charged ahead, only to encounter Chaos, who absorbed the 7 emeralds to destroy the clan. Tikal and the Chow figured out how to contain Chaos inside the Black Emerald, but it came at a price. We head back over to Eggman, who's berating his E-Series robots for not bringing him the right animal, until he gets to Gamma and Froggy. We'll see what happens to Gamma later, but for now, we jump ahead to Eggman extracting the missing Chaos piece and putting it in Chaos proper. And thus we see Chaos transforming from a puddle into its humanoid shape. Eggman tells Chaos to hunt down some emeralds and crush his enemies in the process. This will lead to the events of this issue's first story. Well, we have to see what's up with the Chaotix and the cat people. The Queen wants to know if the island crashing near their territory is a prelude to an invasion, unless they can convince her otherwise. Sounds reasonable? Let's see if the arrival of Locke, Knuckles' father, can benefit the situation. The third story starts with the activation of E-102 Gamma at Final Egg.
Excellent! All systems, full power! Look at me! I'm your brilliant creator, Dr. Robotnik. You're the second of my E100 model machines. E102, codename Gamma. Gamma. That's right. You will now obey only me.
Eggman sends Gamma to complete an obstacle course within 2 minutes, which he does by shooting dummies of Knuckles, Tails, and Sonic. Eggman is so impressed, he brings him aboard the egg carrier. Then there's that business of finding Froggy, and we see what happens to the other E-Series robots for failing to find the right animal. Eggman orders Gamma to a room containing a girl and a bird. All he wants is the bird. The girl, of course, is Amy, and the bird? Yeah, this would be the same bird that followed Amy after she was captured last issue. When Gamma arrives, the narration describes what happened. From Amy defying Gamma to what possibly could happen to him if he fails. He then evaluates how evil Eggman is and decides to break Amy and Birdie out. The story and issue ends with the two leaving and Gamma just standing there, with the narrator saying he just became sentient. Okay. We're jumping into the Sonic Adventure Adaptation in full thanks to this issue showing off a lot of plot threads and quotes from the game, if me sampling audio from the game isn't proof enough. I don't have much to say about the Sonic portion because it's the opening cutscene and first boss of the entire game. You heard me right. For those unaware, Sonic is the only character available at the beginning, and he fights Chaos outside City Hall. The Knuckles portion is primarily exposition, how it tries to make the game portion work with the established comic canon. For example, the Echidna scientists that left the Knuckles clan behind, they would later settle in Down Under, the land where the floating island came from. By the way, the comic does not credit the staff for this story and the Gamma one, but given the way the characters speak, especially Tikal, and the art, I suspect for this story, you know who did the writing and Stephen Butler did the art. Credit where it's due. Despite the expository nature of Tikal's tale, the game stuff does fit in with the comic's Echidna lore. What helps is, at this point, while Sega is developing its own Echidna lore, there's still enough wiggle room to put things here and there. Granted, there might have been those that picked up this issue who are only familiar with the games, and they might be confused with this stuff like the cat people. Which brings us to why they decided to use cats as the enemies of the Echidnas. More than likely, it's because Big the Cat lives in the Mystic Ruins. Yeah, he can't just be a lone fishing hermit who's pals with a frog. He needs to be part of a society. Tikal's tale does tie in to why the cat people are leery of outsiders, and why Locke brings up the past conflicts at the end. Still find this subplot kinda meh despite the added context. And this is coming from someone who enjoys world building. Thankfully, we won't see this subplot again until issue 84. Going back to the flashbacks, it's more or less a condensed version of the many times Tikal would bring a character into the past to show them something related to Chaos and the Echidnas, even though it means nothing to some characters. At least in this case, she has chosen Knuckles because of their connection. She even shows Knuckles the time Chaos destroys the clan, something only Sonic witnesses in the final story. Knuckles is confused by all of this, and rightly so. Even more confusing is Tikal's look when she first appeared. I don't know what Butler was thinking when he drew this, because her appearance in the flashback segments match her game counterparts. At least it was corrected when the story got reprinted in Sonic Archives number 21. The final thing I should say regarding this story involves Eggman using Froggy to transform Chaos into its Zero form. I would not have too much of a problem with it if that was it for Froggy's use. This is an adaptation after all, and things can change due to the medium. Unfortunately, involving Froggy in Chaos's transformation now may or may not bring up a plot hole when a certain game event happens later on. E102 Gamma's comic story follows his game story of being activated, training in Final Egg, and apparently I was wrong. One level of the game is present in the adaptation. Anyway, getting the right frog, seeing his brothers go bye-bye, confronting Amy and Birdie in the cell, and freeing them. Note that E101 Beta is absent from this adaptation. Given what will happen to Gamma later, probably for the best. While there is dialogue, with most of it coming from Eggman, most of the story is told through narration. I understand wanting to shake things up, but it loses something when a third party tells you what happens. It's the classic show versus tell dilemma. Right here, for example, the narration explains how Gamma became sapient, which is a bit more complicated. In the game, E-102 Gamma turned against Eggman because presumably of the bird inside Gamma, which is one of Birdie's relatives, possibly the mother, I'm not entirely sure. Like with Beta, it is a good thing this detail is not elaborated on, again, given Gamma's eventual fate. Everything is in place for the main Sonic Adventure Adaptation. When I say main, I mean the majority of the story. While technically the game's stories have started, we're going into the bulk of it in Part 5, which takes place in Sonic Super Special number 13. See you there. Oh, that there? That's totally a Chaos Emerald in the flashback and not the Master Emerald because... Ooh, look at the odd looking Chow here.